Welcome to Garden Wise Adventures. My name is Malie, and today I'd like to talk to you a little bit about 5 plants that can give you winter interest. I might give you a little bit of a bonus at the end, but I wanted to definitely talk to you about some of the plants that I've used that are good for winter interest. Now we have these in my yard right now, so I wanted to show you what I have and how they look in the winter. So this is December now. We've definitely had some snow. We've had some issues with leaves hanging on trees a little bit lately, which has not normally been the case. But I wanted to show you some of the plants that I have that are great for winter interest. The first one is lavender. Now lavender is gorgeous in the summer when it flowers. It's got beautiful purple flowers. But this is an evergreen, or evergray I should say, plant, and it keeps its leaf color all winter long. Now if you do not cut the flowers back, it can be a little bit of an eyesore, but if you cut the flowers back after they're done flowering, you can have a really nicely shaped plant over the winter that keeps its color. So lavender is a really good plant for winter interest. Now the thing you have to be careful about with lavender is drainage. Lavender is very hardy over the winter. I'm in Utah zone 6/7, and we've had zone 5 winters here in the past. And the lavender has done just fine. You do need to be careful to choose the proper kind of lavender. These are Munstead. Ones that would not survive the winter here are like the Spanish lavenders. So be sure to choose a lavender that is appropriate for your climate. Make sure that it has well-draining soil and that it doesn't get too much moisture. Now over the winter, the amount of moisture is not a big deal as long as you have good drainage. We do get snow cover here, and the ground, generally speaking, most winters stays pretty wet. If you're going to have a dry winter and you're not getting moisture and the ground dries out and does not freeze, it is a good idea to go through and water your lavender once a month. But check the soil moisture before you water it to make sure you don't rot out the roots. The second plant that's really good for winter interest is a group of plants, and that's the grasses. Winter grasses, especially ones like this Mexican feathergrass, are excellent for winter interest. I don't cut my grasses back in the fall. I cut them back in the spring and just let them shine. It's a cloudy day right now, so you're not seeing how beautiful this is in the sunshine, but Mexican feathergrass makes excellent winter interest, even when the snow is covering it. Now, Mexican feathergrass is a very, very drought-tolerant plant. You need to put it in an area with good drainage. The couple of winters that we've had zone 5 winters where it's gotten below 0, they have died back, but they reseed readily. So if you're in an area where you're going to have winter kill on these, make sure you leave a little bit of the seed heads on them and let them reseed. Another type of grass that is great for winter interest is the Calamagrostis varieties. There's Carl Forrester, Overdam, Avalanche. There's several different ones that are beautiful. This is Overdam. It's got a variegated foliage, and I love to let these stand over the winter and give me winter interest. Now these grasses are some of the hardiest grasses you can get. They can tolerate just about any conditions you give them. And because of that, a lot of the commercial places will use them in their landscapes. I think if used in a residential area, use them judiciously, and in the proper areas, they can look beautiful and not have your property look like it's an office building. Another great grass is the blue oak grass. These are new grasses that I planted this year, so they're not full size yet. They keep their blue coloring with a little bit of the brown showing through, and I think they are really pretty. These are also ones that you will need to wait until spring to cut back, and they will just give you a lot of great interest. They're also extremely drought tolerant, can tolerate a wide variety of conditions, and they're extremely cold tolerant. Another plant that I love for its winter interest is the ninebarks. Now there are many, many different kinds of ninebarks that come in different sizes, different colors, different shapes. This one right here is Autumn Jubilee, and it has gorgeous spring color and gorgeous fall color. But in the winter, if you prune it correctly, you can use the beautiful exfoliating bark for winter interest. I absolutely love the way this looks, especially against my blue spruce. Here's another variety of 9-bark, and it's a little, because the sun isn't shining, it is a little dark. But this is another one that I absolutely love. This is the Little Devil 9-bark. It comes up out of the base and only gets about 3 to 4 feet tall and wide. And it generally has this maroon look all winter. And in the spring, you get the dark foliage that pushes out, and it's absolutely gorgeous. And in the summer, it's got white flowers. So this is another one that gives you beautiful interest all year round. It's extremely drought tolerant and tolerates a wide variety of conditions. It does need soil that's a little bit more alkaline. It also needs to have well-draining soil. Now I did create another video, I'll link it up above, on how to prune 9-bark. And you need to be very careful how you prune it. If you're going to prune 9-bark, do not cut the branches back halfway or cut the tops off of them, because you'll get a witch's broom effect on the top or wherever you make the cut. The best way to do it is to take the oldest, largest branches or any dead branches and cut them to the ground. And put your 9-bark in an area where it can get full size. That way you don't have to worry about pruning it as much. And here's another one of my Autumn Jubilee 9-barks. I think they're absolutely gorgeous. And right next to it, as you can tell, I like pairing my Autumn Jubilee 9-barks with blue spruce. So blue spruce is the 4th plant we're going to talk about that gives beautiful winter interest. And I have different varieties of the blue spruce on my property because I love the color and the foliage so much. Now blue spruce are easy to grow as long as you have the right conditions. And blue spruce, one thing they cannot tolerate is saline soil. So if you live in an area, like in Utah, there's the Eagle Mountain, Saratoga Springs area, where blue spruce just does not do very well because of the saline soils. They can tolerate the alkaline soils, it's the salt that they can't tolerate. And they are going to need to be in an area that's well draining and where you can give them long, deep, infrequent waterings. They don't like to be in areas where you get shallow waterings. Putting them in a lawn is one of the worst places you could put a blue spruce. The roots will come to the surface, and you've all seen pictures after windstorms and snowstorms where you have this big spruce trees toppled over and it has a big fat, flat pancake of roots that have come up. And that's because those areas, they've been watered really shallowly. So like I said, deep water, do it infrequently, and you're going to have a happy plant. Now this one is a Picea globosa, or a blue spruce, a globe blue spruce that's on a standard. And when I say it's on a standard, I mean it's on a short trunk. So they've grafted this. Spruce. It's a shrub form that gets 6 feet tall and wide, but they've grafted it on a trunk. And that way they look kind of like giant lollipops. And I absolutely love these in the winter when the snow piles on top of them. Now I said that they get 6 feet tall and wide. These trees are about 15 years old, and you can see that mine are very, very happy on the slope, and they've gotten a little bit bigger than that. But this is a representation of about what can happen with the globe blue spruce. Now I don't have any way to really show you the scale of these, but I think they're probably right now about 10 feet long, about 10 feet wide. And if you counted it from the top of their trunk to the top of the plant, this one's probably about 8 feet, and this one is probably about the 6 feet. And here in back, we have my glorious Baby Tears blue spruce. Now, as I said, there's so many different varieties, so many different shapes. If you get the seed-grown blue spruce, you're going to get a monstrosity, giant, giant tree. They can get, 40 feet tall and, 25 or more feet wide. But these are the baby blue eyes. They're probably, they were here when I bought the house 15 years ago. 15 years ago, they were 8 to 10 feet tall. Right now, I'd say they are 20 to 25. This one is probably closer to 30 feet tall. But they're only about 20 feet wide. So these are not turning into the monstrosities that you can get with blue spruce, and I think they're absolutely gorgeous. Now this one is a weeping blue spruce. This is also 15 years old, and it's probably about 10 feet tall, I would say, and only about 6 feet wide. This one definitely stays a lot smaller, and if you like the weeping look, it's absolutely gorgeous. I love the weeping blue spruces. Now this little guy is new to me, and I think I'm going to be using more and more of it in my landscapes. This is a germander. the creeping germander. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's extremely drought tolerant, has pink flowers in the spring, and is semi-evergreen all winter long. I put in a couple of them just to see how they do. I'm definitely going to be putting more of them in this year. But as I said, they're very, very drought tolerant. They can take alkaline soil, and they're extremely cold hardy. Now, I think if it gets closer to 0 degrees Fahrenheit, there is a possibility that they might die to the ground, but then they'll come back again next year. So far this winter, we've had several nights in the teens, and it has not even touched these plants. So they are very, very cold hardy. So one small extra bonus is my Bergarten sage. Bergarten sage tastes exactly like culinary sage. It has a larger leaf, and this is also evergreen over the winter. It's been evergreen over every single winter that we've had in the last 15 years that I've been here. Some below 0, some are like zone 7 winters where you don't get below the teens. And it looks gorgeous all the time. This one is 15 years old. I think I've only cut flower stalks back every once in a great while. And it is an absolutely gorgeous plant and works beautifully for winter interest. Now, for size comparison, this is my globe blue spruce that I just showed you a little while ago. So this is 8 feet wide and maybe 1.5 feet tall. And it will just continuously spread as long as I let it spread and as long as it gets enough water. And it is extremely drought tolerant. This one gets water very rarely. I'll go through maybe and hand water it once every couple of weeks, but this hose right here is the only water that it really actually gets. Now, they do not do well if you have them in heavy, heavy wet soil. They need drier soil and good drainage. Now, that's only 7 plants that you can use, and 7 groups of plants that you can use for winter interest. And I know there are a great many more, and I'd love to hear what your favorite plants are for winter interest, especially in different parts of the country. I'm here in Utah, zone 6/7, and we need to have plants that tolerate drier conditions, hot summers, and really, really cold winters. So what do you use for winter interest in your area? And hopefully this video has been helpful for you. If it's been helpful, I hope you like, subscribe, share it with your friends, and go have a wonderful garden adventure.